Okay, hope everyone's having a lovely day. It's a good day here. We're gonna go get some feed. That is the plan of action. My sister's car. We're also gonna get feed and we have to get Lisa's medicine. Those are the two things that we need to do today. So what are we going to talk about today? Wow. This has been a crazy, so far 26. While it's very good, it has actually been kind of crazy in all reality. And what do we mean by that? Well, we had everything with the Epstein files come out, and we know that that's crazy. And let me warn you folks, it's gonna get even crazier. Like they're only telling us a little bit. Like I think I just read today that they're gonna say like they're not gonna release any more of the Epstein files. So that what that means is they haven't even given us the good stuff. They just given us the stuff that they want us to know. Remember, they have everything unredacted. They know what everything means. They know all the rules, and they're obviously choosing not to let us know what's going on, which is something that is pretty concerning if you really think about it. The other thing that we need to be concerned with is they're really, I don't know how to explain this. They're playing us in every direction right now. And what does that mean? So playing us in every direction, that means that whatever side you think you're on, you're probably being manipulated. And we probably have always been being manipulated like that, because while they aren't necessarily more intelligent than we are, they have more data points. And so they know psychology better. They know human interaction better. They have more control. And because they have control, they can also control the narrative, and they can control the environment. So that's concerning, because even us doing the good fight, even us trying to say we're going to get out of the beast system, those of us are calling out the monsters from the monster class. They are. The monster class still controls most of all the things that we use, like, my phone. It's an Android phone, so that means it's owned by Google. Well, we know Google's part of the evil monster class. You might be watching this on an Apple phone. Again, control of the monster evil class. You might be watching this on a social media platform, and I don't care which social media platform you're watching this on. You could be watching this on Rumble. You could be watching this on YouTube. You could be watching this on DLive, Kick, Twitch. Unless it's a small, like, intimately controlled site. So, like, I might say something like Pilled. If you're watching this on Pilled.net, maybe that is not controlled, because that is, just some dudes, some folks running their own site. So maybe in that scenario, but that would be one of the only few ones. And one of the only few ones that most people regularly use. And most of you probably aren't even using any of those. So, and, when it comes to how you're getting your news, most of us are getting our news through third party. We're not observing it firsthand. We're not even observing it secondhand. So we're not getting it from somebody that was there. We're getting it from someone that was told by someone that was there. And some of us are even getting it fourth and fifth hand. So just keep that in mind. A lot of the news we just don't know. And a lot of the news is also there to just completely distract us from what we should be doing. So you might be wondering, well, Doc, what should we be doing? Well, right now, we have a time. Maybe it's limited, maybe it's not. But we have a time right now that you can be bettering yourself in whatever direction that means. So it could mean that you need to get your body better functioning in line. It means that you could be building an infrastructure for the things that you want to be building around you. It could be meaning that you're building a network of cool people that are going to make a world of difference. We don't know. We don't actually know what is going to happen in the very near future. All we do know is in the very near future, it's going to be not the same. And not anywhere near the same. Just if those of you that are old enough to remember the
come to us,
think about
nez.h.n.a.co.mmkctn2t.
We're about to feel that again. And that's not even talking, that's disregarding EDCO. That's disregarding the fact that the sun might supernova, the earth might tilt, the poles might change. Any aspect of that is disregarding all of that. Even if none of that happens in the next 20, 50 years, the world in the next, I would say even in as simple as in the next 4, maybe the next 5, are going to feel completely different. For as different as the 20s felt to the 90s, the 30s are going to feel that much different to the 20s. So instead of being distracted, which is so easy for all of us to be, because we are being distracted by everything out there is trying to distract us. So I would say right now, your goal this year, this is the year of preparation. This is the year of getting things in order. It is, I can't remember, what is it, Metal Horse? I don't remember what the Chinese zodiac is. But I'm saying that you need to prepare. Don't need to panic. This is not a panic year. This isn't a year that we need to panic. We need to be afraid. So what am I doing? So I have broken down what I need to do into 4 pillars, because my ADD makes me want to research everything and go in every direction. So my personal 4 pillars are, I'm going to be focusing on making sure the infrastructure stays strong on my property. So I'm going to be building things like greenhouses. I'm probably not going to be adding animals into my farm until I have the infrastructure to put that. So I do plan on adding quail into my farm this year, but I'm not going to do that until I have the infrastructure to put the quail and have them in their permanent location. I'm going to be adding infrastructure so I can have more garden areas. So I'm going to try to triple my garden area. I'm going to try a few new experiments, because every year I need to try different experiments, because, well, experiments are what I kind of do. It's kind of my thing. So I definitely am going to add more experiments to my farm. I've got a bunch of new things I'm going to grow. That being said, I also use streaming as a way to get my message out and to generate some revenue. So I am going to be double down on streaming. Of course, I'm still going to be streaming video games at night for those that watch that. I have renamed. It's not GGX anymore. It's Doc Mavis Gaming. Just look up Doc Mavis. That's DOCMAVIS, Doc Mavis. I'm condensing all of my brands to have the name Mavis in them, and still trying to keep the X Factor Firefly feel to it. But I will still be doing the games at night, but we'll be doing more and more talks, more and more educational videos during the day. So when I start my gardens inside, when we start planting the seeds, we're going to talk about that. And then, because I'm also teaching another series, like I think it's called, just call it Live Well right now. Because so with the Live Well series, I will be teaching ways, like we're going to start off with how to use AI. And some of you might be Luddites and say, no, but Doc, I want to avoid AI. And that is a mistake. Do not avoid AI. Learn how to use the tool, because you are already using it in your life. And so you need to be able to use it so that you're using it and it's not manipulating you. So you need to start now that we still have the ability to know how to use these tools. So you need to learn some of the basics now. So I'll be teaching classes on that. I'll be teaching basis on how to clear your mind, because there's going to be times in the near future that things are going to get chaotic and your brain is going to turn into monkey brain and it's going to get chaotic. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because starting in Lent, because Lent's just an easy time for me to follow because everybody else is kind of following those 40 days. So during Lent, we're going to talk a little bit about things I'm giving up and things I'm also forcing myself to do. Because I like the idea of using it as a growth, as a time of growth. So pillar number 1 is to build up the infrastructure on my farm so that in the future I'll be able to grow more food. Pillar number 2 is to build my community. And that's why I'm still gaming. That's why I'm still streaming. That's why I'm still going out and teaching community, because I need to start building a strong community. As things start to crumble away, as the niceties of society, as the wall starts fracturing in society, it's going to be a perfect time to rebuild. So we're almost like tilling up current society. We're going to till up this current society, and I want to make sure I'm there to help seed it, and that I've started building around the kind of people, and I want to have the kind of people around me that will help me make society better. At least my version of society. I can't control the world. I don't have those abilities, and I refuse to do all the things that the pedophile class, the monster class does. So I'm going to have to build it up. I'm going to have to do it the middle way. And that's through fighting the bad people and propping up the good people. And also, being the middle way. If you don't know about the middle way, you should look into the middle way. And we should talk more about the middle way in the near future. So pillar 2 is to build community. Pillar 3 is to work on self. So I've done things throughout my life. I've integrated shadow. I have focused on trying not to be nice, trying to be genuinely good and caring, and also focused on the parts of me or the parts of you that you might think about that you don't like, and learning what that means, learning that when you see that in others, it's a weakness, and it means that it's just something else you need to strengthen, and how to strengthen those and to use those to be a better version of yourself. So I need to be focusing a lot more on myself. I need to get myself back into, I need my body to be healthier and my brain to be a little bit healthier. And I had a lot of wake-up calls in 25, and I woke up to those wake-up calls and realized that if I wasn't slacking at doing things, I wasn't doing things the way I had initially planned for them to do. So I'm going to be focusing on that pillar. And that's an important one, because there is some important things that need to be focused on and done and all that stuff. So I need to go get feed. So I'm going to pause you guys here for a minute so I can go in and get feed. And I will see you guys in just a second. Okay, got my feed. Here, I'll put my keys. There they are in my pocket. There we go. So we were talking about pillars. So my infrastructure where I live, the community that I'm building, my mental aspects of things, and how I'm going to generate money. And the money one is I know it sounds funny to most people, but it's the one that I'm the least focusing attention on, because everything else around me should help generate some revenue. Like once I grow more plants, build more infrastructure, as I have more excess, I should be able to take that excess and use that excess to sell things. Building strong community, things of that sort. I have a lot of faith that things turn out the way they're supposed to turn out. So I believe a lot in the world, a lot in good. I believe a lot in good. How about that? So I think a lot of good things come to those that are patient and
visit Strider Reflee's KO5 page at
live luxuriously without being a materialist. Which is hard, I will tell you, that's hard. It's a hard concept. It's hard. This world is designed for us to want and desire. But really, as humans, we're kind of just meant to sit around campfires and hang out with our friends and then go around in the world and talk about stuff. So, and look for things. Those are kind of the things that we kind of are meant to do in this world. So, and I don't think we do enough of it. I think we get caught up in the we totally get caught up in the world of work, or we get caught up in the world of leisure. And I want to make sure that leisure and play are two distinctly different things. So play has the ability to make life just a smidget easier. Where leisure is kind of the opposite of work. Leisure is allowed rest. Play isn't about resting. Play is about exploring and learning and discovering. And as adults, we don't play that often. And in my book that I'm almost finished with, okay, well, I'll rephrase that. I'm almost finished with the first draft, let's be fair. We talk a lot about work and play and sleep and learn and boredom. Because I think there's important times that you need to have boredom in your life. And yeah, we'll just leave it there. We'll continue on. So, what are things that I worry about? It's so interesting. So, as someone I try to literally have a plan for everything that could possibly happen. And I know I don't have a plan for everything, but I try to have a plan for everything. I'll give you an example. Let's say we go to a restaurant. Me and Lisa, or me and somebody else decide to go to a restaurant. So, and in that restaurant, I will know things like, I know where every exit is. I have a plan in place if something crazy happens, how I can do X, Y, Z. And I have a thought on being able to do X, Y, Z if something crazy happens. And that might sound insane to some people. Well, what do you mean you have a plan if you're eating in a restaurant? It's supposed to be leisure. I know I'm in a restaurant. It's supposed to just be nice and leisurely, and we're not supposed to worry about anything. But my default setting is to have a plan with everybody I'm in the situation with and how we're going to get everyone out. And then once I have that plan in place, then I can relax. So it's probably a flaw. It's probably a control issue. But I will say that it is something that has done me well most of my life. So it's a character quirk of mine that I will probably keep. I have no desire to not keep it. So there's no probably keeping it. I will keep it. So what I mean by why that story came up is because that means that all the different things I think about the future, all the different rabbit holes I go down, all that kind of stuff, I have to come up with an idea of, if this happens, I will do this. Or if this happens, I will end up doing this. And so I literally have to think about everything. And then I come up with a plan, and then I can relax, and then I'm comfortable. And that's why I sometimes need to take a small little vacation, a small little break from, researching things online. Because sometimes if you spend too much time researching things online, you'll realize that, as crazy as the world is, there's just things you don't have the control that you want to have. So I have to go run into this place, so it'll be a few minutes. So I will pick this up on the next, I'll pick this up on the way home. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Stock. So yeah, 15 minutes left. Well, that's about how long it takes me to get home. We're just gonna swing around like that. It'll make it easier. So, I got lucky there. So what does all this mean? So all this means is that for the next bit, whatever that means, whatever the next bit is, for the next little bit, we'll be talking about preparedness more this year. So things that I want to help prepare with, things I want to talk about is I want to talk about getting good communication skills. So I'm setting up a Meshtastic network. As soon as I get that Meshtastic network set up and functioning in the way that I think it'll function, we will break down exactly how you can do that. I'm going to set up I'm working on setting up using my bowfangs finally this year and getting them for a communication network. I have plenty of cheap walkie-talkies, getting the cheap walkie-talkie set up and having that. Talking about setting up caches. You don't know what caches are. Caches are places that are away from your current location that you can grab and go and have everything that you need in them ready to go. We're going to talk about how to set up your own intranet. And what I mean by that is, I might start off my intranet being cloud-based, so where I'm building the cloud, but the idea is over time, I can disconnect that from the internet and I can have everything that I need to have in a nice little small area. So pretty much imagine like a personal internet. So I'm going to have that set up. We're going to talk about that. And that is the infrastructure. That goes back to the infrastructure that we're going to need for the community. Hopefully we're going to be talking about all the different types of plants, and we're going to really break down why I'm growing this and why I'm experimenting growing each individual thing, because each individual plant that's being grown, I've got a different idea with. We're going to be expanding the hugelkultur bed. We're going to be expanding the spiral bed. Me and my dad's got some ideas of some different types of other additional gardening going in. My sister's also going to be putting in her house. So there'll be some stuff that we'll talk about with that, because there'll be some interesting things that we can learn from that fun adventure as well. And we're going to talk a lot more about the craziness that's happening in the world, because it's going to keep amplifying as the sun keeps amplifying, as the stress of the world keeps amplifying, as all of these different monster class people start trying to push us towards fighting. We're going to have more conversations about that. And you're going to hear me talk more about the monster class. So some people call them the elite. Some people want to blame the Jews. Some people want to blame a particular thing. I am putting them down into the monster class. I don't care if they're Satanists. I don't care if they are a different species of us. I don't care if they are a different religion. Either way, they're people that know better, and they're doing this because they're monsters. So we can group them however you'd like. I don't care about like how long they've been doing anything. I mean, we probably talk a little bit about history, but the problem with the past and the problem with the future is that it stops you from how long they've been doing anything. So you learn from the past. I mean, we probably get the lessons you learn. You incorporate them today, and the things that you do today, you make sure the actions you're doing today aren't going to harm you tomorrow. You're going to make sure you're going to look at yourself and be like, really like me of today. You don't want to go back and say, man, past me was an asshole. Like, he was a greedy asshole. He never thought about the future. Because the idea is we want to think about, the idea is what you're going to do today needs to have the wisdom of the past and the foresight of the future. But you also need to be in today, because today is the only day that you have. The present is a gift. It's the only thing you have. And so you have to remember that. And that's hard for me sometimes. I think, like I told you, and you guys just heard me say it a few minutes ago, how much I plan. Planning is living in the future. It's not living in the now. And so, like, I have to get my plans in place. I have to let that cycle through my brain. And then I have to remind myself that I'm here today. And today is what I've got. We're going to talk about tricks. Because as I progress with this, there's a lot more woo that needs to be talked about. If you don't know what woo is the stuff that's not necessarily linked to science, but it's stuff that makes us... I like to say that woo is just science we don't understand yet. Magic is just science we don't understand yet. But that's kind of the whole idea, is that I want to make sure that we have plenty of woo in our conversations, and that we understand how to make... The woo is all about making you, your community, it's covering the pillars, making all that better. Because if you aren't doing things to make your world and the world around you better, then you're either doing evil without realizing it, or you're just not doing anything. And not doing anything over a period of time will absolutely lead to you doing evil, even if it's just accidentally doing evil. So the opposite of good is not evil. The opposite of good is bad. The opposite of evil is live. And that's the status. If evil is just stopping people from living, it's just stopping the live. It's restricting things. And so that's how I view things, and that's how I will probably continue to view things for the foreseeable future. And you might watch some of my past stuff. You might be new to watching this kind of stuff. Just understand that you're welcome to disagree with me. And just because I'm saying it, and just because you might think I'm cool, or you might think I know a whole lot, each of us are going to have our own life experiences. And our idea is to draw on the knowledge of those around us and not just blindly follow anyone. I don't want anybody to blindly follow me, as I will never blindly follow anyone else. I can't say never, but I will rarely ever blindly follow someone else. And it's not that it's just like do your own research, because sometimes you don't need to do your own research. Sometimes the research out there, and you can listen to somebody else's research and be like, yeah, it's pretty good. I support that. It's close to what I would think would be the right answer. And that's fine. It's just doing things when you are ignorant and you don't realize you're ignorant is the problem. And ignorant and stupidity is not the same. So this is a mistake I get so many people talking about. Being ignorant means you don't know yet. It means you don't understand, you don't know, you don't have the knowledge. Being stupid is you know better. You have the information, or you were given the information. Those are the differences. I'm still going to be offering my 15-minute class sessions that I do on Calendary or whatever it is. So those that want to think about having me as their aka life coach, life navigator, cool. If that doesn't tickle your fancy, awesome. And I don't plan on putting anything behind a paywall. So some of you might see stuff behind a paywall on Rumble, just know that that stuff will be available that stuff will ultimately be available in the future for not behind the paywall. It's just, there's rules I have to follow. It's the reason I talked about earlier, is that everything falls
Visit
in the system,
self-reliance
and you have to
KO5
play
page
within the
app.
rules. So every system has some set of rules, and I have to play within those rules, and that happens to be the rules that I have to play. I have to put some stuff in the premium section on there, but that doesn't mean that that is anything that I am gatekeeping. All of that information will be available other places. I'd love to do it, but I don't have the support staff around to start the unmystery school like I wanted to in the past. I wanted to start an unmystery school where we find mystery schools and we start demystifying them. Unfortunately, I don't have the time right now to do this by myself, and I do not have the infrastructure for those to help me demystify it just yet. Soon though, one day. Fixing the world is by giving knowledge out there, and by being cool, being compassionate. Compassion is how we win, folks. If you guys want to know how do you win with compassion. Now, I want you to understand, sometimes compassion does not mean non-violence. The middle way means knowing how to have compassion and knowing when to provide kindness and when to smite, when to get rid of, to eradicate, and when to care. And making sure that you are wise enough to know the difference and wise enough to know the proper times. Because while we live in an emotional realm, and we absolutely do, this world is full of emotions. Everything is emotional, from the trees to our food to the way we interact. It's all emotional. This is an emotional realm. That is one of the gifts of being this version of human, is we get to play in this emotional realm. We are an emotional being surrounded by logic, and you want both. Emotion is not a weakness. These people that say facts don't care about your feelings, absolutely facts do care about your feelings. Because cognitive dissonance exists. And you need to be understanding and respectful enough to understand that that's going to happen. That cognitive dissonance is real, and that we all have it. And it is a mechanism of living in this emotional realm as an emotional human. So I'm pretty sure that my clock is running low, because I can only, for some reason, this is only giving me roughly 15 minutes to record. So before it just abruptly cuts off, like happens a lot when we do Let's Feed the Chickens, I want to thank you guys all for being here, for listening, for being part of this journey. I want to thank you guys all for being alive. You chose to be here. Even if you didn't realize it yet, you all chose to be here. Those of you that are listening have double chose. You chose to be a person on this planet, and you also chose to listen to me. I think that's really cool. And I absolutely appreciate both actions. And I hope that your version of life is just going to get better. And if there's any way that I can help, I hope your version of life I can help. And to everyone else, which is everyone, thank you. Yeah, life is good. Things are good. Even in this wicked world that we live in, even with everything around, it's all going to be okay, guys. Just have faith. You were put here. You chose to be here. You're strong enough. You can do it. Anyways, probably about 10 seconds left. Thank you guys again. I will see you guys all tomorrow, or the next day, or whenever you're watching this. It's Doc. Till tomorrow. Adios.